Hey, welcome back to Branching Out. I hope you all had a good week. Today I'm just going to kind of show you step by step kind of how I built my greenhouse. Now it's raining, cold rain out there, and it's actually freezing up my fingertips, so I thought this would be the best video to make today. So what we're going to start with is, what I started with was our poles. Now these are the main structure of the whole greenhouse. So what I did was when I cut them off when I bought the greenhouse, because it was an old greenhouse that I had to take down to put back up. So when I did that, I would have had to pay a lot of money to extend those poles again and then cement them in the ground. If I was to cement them in the ground, I would have needed probably a certain amount for a permit, and then I probably would have needed an engineering drawing. So to avoid that, this structure sits right on the ground. And actually what I did was, and I'll show you a quick close-up. Get this out of here so we can show you. But we're going to show you this and how I welded it and what I put down the bottom and how I did it. So there's the plate that I put in. It's 12 by 12. And then I added another couple inches, another 6 inches to each pole. So this thing's actually 6 inches taller than it was when I brought it down. But I also have to add this dirt right here, or soil, whatever you want to call it, down into there. You can actually see the water where it's pooling right there, and that is because I had to put a trench in there to put that outer seal or that walling out there. So fill that in with dirt so that it doesn't stay wet, and then in the winter I don't want it to freeze down there and then push it up. So that's why I did that. So the second step that I did after I had all the plates welded and I sprayed them with that rubber leak seal is I had to make sure that they were all the right height, and then get out my patio stones, which you saw in the last picture. And kind of put them down as flat as I could. So the next step, once I had all of my stuff welded and ready to go, I started kind of placing them up there using wood or whatever to hold it, standing up to give me a good idea. Had to get out a line, put it down there. The next step, what I did is this angle was the original angle that was on it, and when I cut it to take it out, I half-ass labeled it, put it back there. So my recommendation is make sure you label your ends with a good stamp, because the rusting will come through and it'll remove your A's or your 1, 2, 3s or whatever it is that you were using to mark it. So what I did is I had to re-weld this. So I had to find each section and make sure that they were all in the right spot, because each one was a certain length. So then I found that, and then I re-welded it. So that's what I did. Each one stood upright. I welded the piece in, and then I just kept going down the line until I got to the end. Now I did use some wood and stuff to prop it up so that it can't fall back and forth until I could get the trusses up, which was, I believe that was step 3. So step 3 was putting up these large trusses one by one after each one was welded. So once I did this section, got this section welded, I put up a truss, and I put up the other truss so that I had something to create this box, and then I just built after that, and I just kept going down the line until I was done. And I'll give you the quick picture of that. Okay, so you can see where I originally cut it off here and there, and then re-welded it. So I left them there, and then there were marks on it, and some of them I saw, some of them I didn't. I had to do some finagling measurements on it to make sure that it got done. And then there was this, obviously this cross beam in here that has to be put in there to keep it square. So once I got that back into place, everything was square on the one end, and then I just worked from there. But yeah, this is what I did all the way down on both sides, is that holds it, makes it rigid this way. And then, yeah, and then there, after that, step 3 was to put in the trusses, like I said. So I did one truss at a time. And then, like I showed you here, I'll show you here, a bunch of all these trusses went in one at a time. Every time I did a section, well, I tried to do all the sections and then put up a bunch of trusses. I did what I could, not what I can't. So not everything was done in the exact order. I did 1 here, 1 there, 3 there. You know, that's not how it worked. I got one section done, and then I tried to do as much as I could until I could get the help to do the other sections, and then I would put up 3 or 4 of these trusses at a time, which ended up being like, yeah, we ended up putting them like 8 one day, and then I still had to struggle on the last bit to get the last 2 or 3, whatever it was. So yeah, that was step 3. So as we're looking straight up, you can see these poles that are going this way. Now that just keeps it all rigid as well. There's 2 of them on each side, and they go the span of the entire greenhouse. So that was step 4. Had to put them in there. Again, it was also to help everything keep it kind of square. And I did the best I could with welding. I'm not the best welder in the world, so you know, I kind of slapped it together a little less professional than, say, a professional. So you do what you can, not what you can't. And then what happened was in the section 5 here, or step 5, we started putting in the ribs. So you can see all these upright ribs started going in. We had to find the rails that fit along the top and along the bottom and make sure they all line up so that they were still square and not on a slant or just a short piece in a long section. So that was step 5. That's what I did. And then I put in, and again, I didn't do everything in exact order, but that was the step 5, is to put in all the ribs. But as I went, you know, there were some days I couldn't do that, either hardware issues or, you know, I didn't have all the sections. So what I did is I started putting in glass, which is step 6. Step 6, I'm going to combine with the butyl tape that you need. So you would lay down the butyl tape in the track. Let's get up a little closer and I'll show you. Okay, so basically this is just an extra piece of these rails right here, these little tracks. And you can see there's 2 grooves on either side, right here and here. That's where your butyl tape sits. That's a 1/2 inch groove with like I think it's a 3/16 depth. And that's why you get like I forget what it is, the size of the butyl tape. You'll have to go back to one of my videos where I first did sealing the greenhouse. That's the one you want to watch. I'll see if it's on my menu. I'll leave it at the end of this video. But yeah, then you put the butyl tape in, and I did the same thing with that. I would do a whole section of butyl tape and get it all lined up and everything, and then I just start putting in windows. So I'm going to include this in step 6 here too, is while you're putting in the windows, you're going to put in one of these tracks here that it's a holder for the window, right? And they actually sit right underneath that window ledge, and it sits on it so that it can't kind of go up and down, because it will slide up and down on the butyl tape depending on the temperature, right? So, and then the other one goes right over top and clamps it to that, and that's why there's a little bit of an arc at the bottom of these, just like that, so they fit one after another. Yeah, so I'm going to add that as step number 6, and I'll just show you again on this side. Here's the track. This would go, you put your butyl tape in your 2 lines here, put your track over top after your glass is in place, and then you would just zip it closed with the stainless steel screws. So if you're buying a used one, remember you're going to need screws and you're going to need new butyl tape. And my biggest advice, make sure you keep all your glass secure and stored properly and torn out right. Otherwise you'll be buying a lot of glass. There's probably 2,000 pieces of glass in here. I can't remember what the math is, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, but yeah, I end up going back and buying probably more than $1,000 worth of glass just to finish off. Good thing I knew a guy, because it would have been a lot more. So step 7, what I did was I put in this insulation. This I believe it's a 2-inch insulation or 1.5-inch insulation, rigid insulation. So I put that in there and put some of these. You can see that wood there. I pounded them in. They're not right into the ground. They're just there to add a backing to the back part of it. They will be planted, but you know, eventually they will rot and they'll need some repair. Again, that was step 7. So what I did. So I did all of that so that I'd have a backing for step 8. So step 8 was dig a little trench all the way around the whole greenhouse, and having this is roofing. So this is just metal roofing, and you buy it at any metal roofing store. And I put some caps on it too as well. And then, so like I said, I needed the backing for it to go in there, but it's also in the ground too. So it's probably sitting about 8 inches into the dirt. So this is why I'm also putting this extra dirt here. So again, you can see the water's all piling up right there. And what I don't want is for the water to sink down in there and have it freeze and then lift the greenhouse. So I might even come back and put more in here to create a little bit more of a mound on this side. And I'll be doing that all the way around, except for the other side. Let me get to the other side. So same. On the other side, you remember my other video, if you've been following along, I have that rigid insulation sitting flat this way and all the way down with a piece of wood on it for these totes to sit on, in order to make them a little bit more level so that the water will flow out of it, gravity, without any issues. But since that's been done, that's kind of insulating the outside here. I did fill up that trench on this side as well. So then there's that insulation in there too, hoping that it's going to keep the wind and the snow out of there, and all the water, basically get as much water over here as it does on the other side. And that's it for that. So next step. So step 9 was putting in all the hardware, like the door hardware and the posts there, to make sure, well, I think they were already in there when I did the glass, but to make sure that everything was lining up for the door. So we did get the door in, and we got the fan in. So we also did some posts on the other side too, where we put the track across. Now I'm having a hard time getting the wheels for the doors that go on there, because I don't know, maybe they were made in 1960, I don't know, because I can't find them, or at least the right size, but I will get them, or I will fix those. So that's going to be my last step, is fixing those doors on that side. But anyways, step 9 was to put that in here, which is the fan that creates the nice breeze in here to keep some of the heat out. Otherwise, a lot of my plants will just fry. It's just so hot in here in the summertime, like 45 degrees. That's going to kill all your plants, no matter how much you water them, unless you have some really hot tolerant plants. But anyways, I didn't want to do that, so we're going to get that hooked up eventually, but that's down the road, and it'll definitely be a video, so definitely be watching out for that one, because it'll probably involve some type of windmill solar collaboration to get some electricity in here. So yeah, so that's what we're doing right now. I have a little bit of work to do on this little door right here, just to shave it off, because it's a little tight, because nothing was square perfect when I did it, because remember, I tore this down and put it back up. So we got the door, the windows over there. We're going to fit that once we smooth off the edges a little bit, get a little doorknob in there, little latch. And we still got to put that little piece of wood over there, but that's a small little detail. I'll get that taken care of eventually. But yeah, that was pretty much the last step that I had to do. The very last step, like I said, is going to be to get those door wheels fixed. I'm going to reuse the doors that I had on here originally. It's just a matter of figuring out where I can get the hardware for it with a certain price. Some things range from $25 to $150, and I don't want to pay $150 per set just because I really need them. I should be able to find them somewhere. So we'll figure something out. But yeah, if you like my videos, don't forget to hit that thumbs up down there. It's right down there. Just hit that thumbs up. It won't hurt you. And then the subscribe button would be great if you could subscribe and hang out with the rest of the family, that all my other viewers who like to comment and stuff. I really enjoy talking to some of the people that are from around the world. And yeah, don't forget to tell your friends. And don't forget to come back next week and watch next week's video, when hopefully the weather's a little better and we can get some stuff in the ground just before the snow falls. Have a great week. I'll see you next week.